Hello fam bam, hope you guys are good and as excited as I am. I am sitting with the lovely, gorgeous, beautiful Bonolo More. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good, and how are you?
Fantastic. So today we're talking about a topic I have entitled the process and importance of discovering yourself. But just before we go into that, we're gonna play a game here. It's called How Well Do You Know the Bible? So how well do you know the Bible?
100.
100. Super confident.
Period.
All right, I like it. So the first question will be, what gave Samson his strength?
His hair.
Correct. For the first time, I'm so happy. Wow. All right. Who are Miriam's and who are Miriam's brothers?
Who's Miriam?
Huh?
Oh no! Oh, Aaron and Moses.
All right. At least. But at least that's about what's my thing. All right. This is a bit tricky. Of the 4 rivers mentioned 2 listed as flowing out of Eden. Of the 4 rivers that were flowing out of the Garden of Eden, mention at least 2.
No, who reads those rivers?
I do.
No.
I do.
What's?
You said you know.
No, but like those rivers, dog.
Do you know?
There were 4 again. No, I don't know any of them.
Any of them?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it. Okay, let me give it a chance. Beyonce.
Hey, I don't know. The river of Jordan.
And so
Genesis.
Was it?
No.
Never mind. So of the 4 rivers, if you go into the Bible and you read, when Isaac was digging the wells, and the Philistines came on constantly coming to, when he was digging one well, they came and they closed it. And then he opened another, they came and they closed it. So they were quarreling with him over the wells. So he gave these wells names. And one of them is Pishon. I don't know.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Now that he's, I know.
The other one is Gihon, and the other one is Tigris, and the other one is Perith.
I only know the first one.
Yeah. So, yeah, just saying. All right. The last question for you before we go into the topic. Okay, this is probably the most simplest. What did Jacob give Joseph that sparked jealousy from his siblings?
A coat or jacket?
Coats of many colors, definitely. That's the one you were talking about.
Yes.
Yes, and you thought it was. All right. So, how do you define purpose?
Okay. So, how can I define purpose? I can't find the right articulations, but what I can say is that purpose is the intent that God had when He made you. You know, the Bible says that I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Is it Jeremiah? Yes, so it's an intent that God had for you.
Sure.
You have a purpose, you live for something, you live to fulfill something.
Sure.
So that is how I can explain purpose without, getting into dictionary and just, yeah.
Right. And how do you define identity?
Okay, so identity is who you are. So I believe that who you are is built by your environment firstly.
Okay.
It's built by where you are growing up, the people that are around you, and yeah, just that, where your upbringing comes. That's when you are molded into who you are.
Sure.
You're molded into your personality or character, just that.
So you're basically saying that identity is character and personality together?
Yeah.
And are you then saying also it's values that were instilled in you as you were growing? Alrighty, okay. So how do you go about finding your purpose as a young person? What is the route to, the navigator to the navigation to finding your purpose as a young person?
Okay, so I believe every one of us has a choice.
Okay.
Firstly, before I go anywhere or
Yeah.
I say anything, every one of us has a choice. And I believe in, as I said initially, purpose is what you were intended for.
Sure.
Everyone has it. But life is about choices. Life is about what you want to do and what you want to see yourself in. So firstly is the right set of mind, aligning yourself to your own principles as a person, your own boundaries as a person, so that you can pursue purpose. Purpose can speak of, let's say you're in ministry, that can be your purpose. But purpose also speak of your, marriage. Marriage is purpose. There are some people that are not purposed for marriage, and there are some people that are purposed for
Even
marriage.
purposed for
What?
men.
You must cut that. So it's just that thing, Uguti. You must allow it to rest in your mind, and then as it is in your mind, you practice it. It's something that you practice for the rest of your life. Purpose is not a point where you're like, no, I've reached my purpose. It's a pursuit. You pursue purpose every day. You choose to do whatever that will allow you to purpose, whatever that will allow you to what God had created for you.
So there's no final destination.
Yes.
So it's constantly working it out.
Yeah, that's how I.
Do you ever find do you know your purpose?
Yes.
Alright. Do you ever find yourself struggling or questioning your purpose? Or confused to say, is this really what I must do?
Okay.
To an extent that you now start thinking of other options.
Yes. Purpose is a very difficult thing to because at times there's your desire, and then there's the will of God, and just another many factors that go into purpose. So it's something that before, I know it's not about that, but before the Christ, I was just just living.
Again?
I didn't wait, I'm coming. So I was just living, and I didn't care about the idea of purpose. So now that I'm aware of purpose, what was the question again?
Oh, you.
John.
I was asking to say, do you ever find yourself confused?
Yes.
To an extent that you resort to other options?
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to your purpose.
Okay, so because at the time I didn't know why I should have purpose and why I was created, you're just living J lives. And then now you're coming into a different sector where you must be intentional about things. It was quite difficult for me to understand that aspect, that you must be intentional about life, and then just understand that. So yeah, it was something that I had a difficulty with, but I think as I'm going and you're growing, in life, you understand that, this is how I must do things. This is the decisions that I must make. This is the things that I must do to can reach a point where you're like, I really fulfilled what I wanted to be, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah.
I'm asking this because this year I think I was at a point in my life where I was so confused with my purpose, right? Because I know what I'm called for and what I must do in this world, right? But even with career-wise, right? Because now I'm studying music performance, but I got to a point where I was like, I think I want to leave this course and do another course. Why? Because it's not looking good. Yeah, it's not looking clean. It looks like we're gonna have to work for 30 years to make it. But I'm asking this because there's people who get to a point where they know their purpose, but because it's not looking clear, it's not looking good, they then want to change or substitute what they are actually supposed to do. So do you get to a point, have you ever been at a point where you are called for this, you must do this, this is what God has called you to do or to be, and you were like, you know what, I see you again, so you're born another time, let's rather focus on this. And how have you dealt with it?
Okay, so the question is, so I have, sorry to make reference about someone else, because I'll explain later on. So I have a friend, she was studying something, and then she changed it the next year because it was something that she was passionate about. As I was talking about desire, you're passionate about something, and when you get there, you find that this is too difficult for you. So she left that thing and persuaded another thing that is just out of her desire. But as time went by, she went from not desiring that thing and then learning to love that thing, learning to work with it. And I believe it's at times we're just looking at something from outside. You know, we're looking at, oh, you know, I'm sure I'm gonna be good with this thing, and actually getting inside of that thing is you know, this is really like too difficult for me, and that's okay. You know, you don't have to feel like you're a failure. You don't have to feel like, you know, this is over. You know, it's difficult, and there's some things that are difficult in life, and then withdrawal is okay. You can withdraw and go another route. That's okay, as long as you know that you'll be certain, like you will stand your ground in that field, and you will know that, you know, maybe you can go back there just, you know, to learn it for fun, you know, to just do it for the sake of satisfying your need, and not actually, you know, like putting your faith on it and then disappoint you at the end. So it's just that thing.
Beyonce, I want to bring you in here. What are some of the things you personally go through as a young person in purpose? Like, what are some of the struggles you are going through, especially if you know what your purpose is in life? What are some of the things that you are really battling to understand or to?
Hey, I think for me it's fulfilling my purpose. That's difficult already. It's very difficult, and also thinking that you know your purpose is it makes things difficult as well, because I thought I know my purpose in terms of like maybe what I want to study, and God said no, this is not for you, girl, so I'm taking you this path, you know. Then it becomes difficult for you to understand why did God place me here. But the more you build a relationship with God, you get to understand why He placed you in a certain place. It's because He had a purpose for you. And sometimes it's difficult to explain to people my purpose, because a lot of people base their purpose based on academics. And my purpose, I know it's a godly purpose, which is pursuing Christ and also leading people into Christ. And so it's hard to actually say it to people. I don't have the courage to say it, especially in a group of young people where they always talk about I want to be a doctor, I want to be a what, and I'm just like, hey, right? I don't want to be any of that, especially when it comes to academics. I'm not really into that. I'm into ministry, I'm into sharing the word, I'm into those kind of things, and I just don't know where to start because I'm very young, and there's a lot of things that I can do, I know, but it's just that it's difficult for me to start. I don't, as much as I do have a foundation, but having to continue building on that foundation is quite difficult. But with God's grace, I think I'm heading there to my purpose, because I already know what it is, which is bringing people to Christ. And I believe that all of us have the same purpose, which is bringing people to Christ. That's why God created us, to build His kingdom. So He called us for that, but obviously we have different desires, we have different gifts, we have different, I don't know, talents, and we have to just use those talents differently, but our purpose is the same, is bringing people to Christ. So if I'm good at singing, which is what I'm good at, I have to bring people to Christ with singing. If you're good at dancing, if you're good with academics, you can use that. Like it's easy as that. You just have to use what you have, what you're good at, to do what God has designed you to do.
So what I'm getting from you is that even in our respective careers, places, the mandate of bringing people to Christ is so it doesn't need you to be a pastor for you to say you are living in purpose.
No.
Interesting. So let me bring you in. Sorry to put you on the spot, but yeah. Do you know your purpose?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm like just still trying to navigate my way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me leave that there. So let me ask you this. What are the benefits of living in purpose? Like the green lights, the positives of living in purpose. For me, one of them is I never lack. I don't lack because I live in purpose. So what are the benefits that come with living in your purpose and doing what you're called to do?
Okay, so living in purpose, it helps because this age. We're living in an age and a time where everything is trying to give you an identity. You know, the world is trying to give you who you are. You know, they're telling you that you are a Capricorn, you know, Babylon things, you know, that you are Cancer, you know, because your birthday is from here and here, you know, and then that's not the intent of God. You know, He doesn't want anything to be your source of identity. He wants you to come to a place where you understand that you're a child of God. You know, that creation understands that, you know, that Jesus has intended for you to reach greater heights. You know, so understanding purpose is understanding where you root from, you know, where you come from. Yeah, it has helped me so much into understanding who I am to God's eyes. You know, I'm the apple of His eye. You know, I don't need anything to identify me because He's already identified me. You know, it's just that.
So there's like a sense of peace that comes with it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we are done for today. But definitely, I'm still doing a study on purpose and identity. I'm gonna do a video for you guys soon, alone though, and where I'm gonna be talking about purpose and identity in detail. So for now, kalarata may browsing, subscribe and comment and like share
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
His name is Bonolo Halani. Oh, Instagram. Gwena Bonolo Halani. No. Shoni Halani on Facebook.
On Instagram, I'm at Sony_Halani. And on Facebook, I am Bonolo Halani. And here, Kalarata Press. Thank you.